So it's going off already. I was just shuffling 2 cards flung out. We're going to get into it here. Nine of Raphael, which is the wishes coming true card. We'll talk about it. And the Emperor. Okay, let's get more of the story here. Let's all just focus and breathe. If you don't know who I am, I'm Michelle. This is Angel Souls, and I bring angelic messages through for you and for the whole collective. Okay. And 4 of Raphael. So we're seeing there's an opportunity that you're not seeing. I should put it that way. There's an opportunity that you will be seeing. Also the Empress. So we have the Emperor and we have the Empress. Let's get one more. 6 of Raphael. Well, let me put these in order. And let me feel out their messages as well, along with the cards. So there will be brief pauses here. Just hang with me. As long as you're not driving, make sure you're not driving when you're listening to this. You can use these pauses as a moment to reflect. Take a deep breath. And you can feel me bringing angels through if you're tuned in. All right? So just use that as a practice. See what that does for you and comment down below what your experience is. And if you're being really impatient, you feel like this is taking too long, that is something you need to examine as well. First and foremost, I see a lot of Raphael here. So Raphael does help us with heart wounding is what I'm hearing. He helps with a lot of things, but he's coming in here for all of us around this time. Remember, time is not linear outside of the human construct. So with angels and archangels, it's not like astrology where you have to take this chunk of time because there are aspects, that art is very, very different and is very contingent upon timing. But this is not the same thing with angels. Oh, God, I just immediately felt like my heart cracking open. It was hurting in my back a little bit. And I just felt like I just did, like I could just exhale. So examination time. It's going to be time to clean house. And that could mean family, friends, co-workers. You got to see what's working for you here, because in order for all these great things to come through, Raphael represents, like I said, the healing and opening your heart. But this isn't your typical message here. This is more about opening your heart to what really brings you joy. I know that sounds generic, but hang with me here. Opening your heart to what really brings you joy. So if you are somebody who's super sensitive and you work in this high-paced environment where narcissists and sociopaths get put on pedestals, and if you don't think like that person or you don't allow them to control you, then you're the enemy. This is that time where you go, okay, their definition of me is not truth. I know who I am. No one's going to define me. And letting your heart open and heal from that realization. I'll give another example. If you've ever been in dynamics where there's a group of people and maybe there's a bully, or there's a group of people and then there's like the, self-proclaimed queen bee, someone who thinks they're in charge of everybody, you might be the one that they can't stand. You're the one they will not help when you need help. They're the ones that will expect you to support them, but they've never shown any support to you. They will not talk about your accomplishments. They won't let you even briefly mention, like, oh yeah, hey, I did that one time. This is getting to some of you out there where you're forgetting who you are. Now I'm talking to the actual empathetic people, not the ones who show up and treat these readings like, just tell me what to do. I'm getting frustrated because the universe isn't giving me what I want because you're throwing a tantrum. That's not who we're talking to here. You got your own things you got to work through. This is about healing and recognizing what you put up with. What do you put up with? So are you getting harassed daily in your work environment? Are you getting exploited? Do you have friends and family that expect you to worship, certain people in that group? And this could also be like your church, whatever religious institution you might be a part of or a meditation group, there's always that one person who says, I'm the natural leader. Now, that's fine. I mean, if you're a natural leader, that can be a beautiful thing. But I have rarely seen like extroverted leaders always be on the up and up. Do you feel me? Now, introverted leaders, yes. Actually, they're the more powerful leaders because they know when to shut up and they know when to observe and watch what's going on, and they're self-reflective. So they're not going to be, I'm generalizing here, but they're not going to be as reactive necessarily. They're going to maybe take a beat before they bring out what they have to say. And if they are seeming very reactive, no, they're not. That has been going on for quite some time. And chances are pretty good that they have been laying down boundaries. They have been speaking up, and everyone just keeps talking right over them, and then they explode. So that is the first. I know it doesn't seem like it's related to this, but don't be shallow here. Get out of your ego. These are just to tie back to what the potentials are if you understand all these other messages, the deeper messages that are coming through for you. So we start off, actually the Nine of Raphael was first. The Nine of Raphael, make a wish, dreams become reality, a joyful time of life. So this is saying, here's your moment. Here's your moment. Get ready for it. Get ready for it in your home environment. Get ready for it in your physical body, mental, emotional. This is why you're healing and detoxifying and getting rid of stuff that might bring you down. No, you don't need to hang on to whatever. I have this, I just thought of this notepad that I have, and it was like personalized stationery that I have from a previous corporation. I worked in the executive office. So if I did, I guess, even scratch down notes, they had to know that it came from my desk, right? And maybe it's time to let that go, right? Because every time I see it, I just remember being controlled and manipulated, and it's not just corporations. So let's talk about that too. What narratives are going on here? So I keep hearing, because I moved back to a small town, so all I keep hearing is like, oh, these horrible corporations, but the smaller organizations can be just as bad, right? They can be just not necessarily corrupt, but just as far as like the similar type of dynamic where you might have someone who thinks they're in charge of everybody. You have a bully, you have, you're getting exploited, you see what I'm saying? You're getting harassed, all that can happen. It doesn't matter the size of the organization of what type of business it is. You could have you and one other person running a small mom and pop shop, and one person could have that dynamic over another. You feel me? So opening yourself up to these wishes, it starts with realizing all of this. And for some of you who feel like you do need, like, networking is very important, I feel you on that. But you got to make sure, how do I say this? You got to make sure that you're at least trying to keep some of your pure intentions. I think simply put, too late for that, right? But simply put, do your morals and values align with the people around you? If you are somebody who is kind, warm, empathetic, you care about other people, you are considerate of other people, you are the one that makes sure, genuinely, not in a communal narcissist kind of way, like, oh, I'm going to pretend like I'm, bringing you in, but really, I don't really care. I just want to look like a good person. If you're acting authentically and you're including someone and making sure that they feel supported and loved, but you're hanging out with people, or you're working in an environment where it's always about them. It's always about them. There's a lot of, I know this sounds weird, hang with me, energy exchange through gifts. Now, that's not about being materialistic, not any stretch of the imagination. But if something is thoughtful, and if it shows that someone was paying attention, it does not matter how much they spent on it. Okay? Now, if your hand, and this is such a narcissistic trait, so please be mindful of this. Please be on the lookout for this. People who expect you to spend, for them, it is all about the money. How much did you spend on me? But in return, they either don't give you a gift, or they give you a gift with a lot of little digs that they're taking at you. Um, something that was clearly, I had somebody one time, she had a shop. This is when I lived in Colorado. She owned a shop, and she handed me a gift for my 40th birthday. And inside of it were these little random things that I saw in her shop that were on the clearance rack, and I knew that they had been sitting there forever. So it was like a bottle opener and just random stuff. So there is a message of disregard. Now, we live in a very narcissistic world. So people will, pump this narrative of, and watch, people can't handle it. They can't, sometimes part of their brain is atrophied. So they hear a message like this and they're going to try to twist it because they're trying to make sense of it in the part of their brain that might still be a little bit lit up. Michelle sounds so mean. No, I don't. I sound truthful. Just take it in for a second. You see how it lands for you. But if somebody then expects you in return to lavish gifts on them, right? You see that kind of, there's underhanded dynamic. You're not worth the time. You're not worth the thought kind of thing. So again, keep it. Don't do the societal narrative of you're being so shallow if you're just focused on gifts. Don't twist the words, because I know that part of your brain may not be able to come back if it is atrophied and just kind of, dimmed out. But what I'm getting at here is it can be a good indicator of what is draining your energy and blocking your wishes. Okay. Now, let's go along with the example of gifts. Let's say you're at a party and maybe you weren't given a gift for your birthday, or your birthday was forgotten, or you were given something from the clearance rack, right? That they were just going to throw out anyway. And then you see at another party, another birthday party, let's say, that someone from that same person gets a really big gift. It's so subtle, and you might be saying, why is she talking about this? Because it's important. There's these subtle things and nuances that people just don't pick up on. Again, it's not about the materialism behind it. It is not, presumably, the narcissist. It is not that narcissist loves that person more than you. As a matter of fact, that person probably doesn't even know what love is. That is a dog treat. Good girl. Good girl. You show up when I call you. Careful. Because if you're like, whoa, shouldn't you just show up for your friends? No. I'm talking about a controlling person who has obedient servants that show up. They may show, I know this is complicated. You might think, well, that's just them showing them appreciation. No, it's not. Not always. I know this is hard because not everybody can pick up on the nuances, and you might say I'm not making any sense here, and that's fine. But they're signaling. It's hard. It's hard. And unless you have very tuned in empathy, it will go right over your head, or you will be sitting here listening to this and saying, this is just rambling. This is confusing. What are you even talking about? Careful, because you might be doing that and convincing yourself that you're just showing appreciation when really you're trying to reward, again, the dog treat gift. You're trying to reward the person who obeys you. And the person who thinks for themselves and doesn't put up with the nonsense, they get disregarded because they are a disruptor. They are a disruptor to their system, their little microcosm that they have formulated. I hope that makes sense. So this is a big message that's coming up. And until we start getting into the nuances and understanding that, your wishes aren't going to come true. Okay, so we're getting into what's blocking so that this stuff can come on in. Then we have the Emperor, the number 4. So this is all about stability. It's Archangel Uriel. Stability and efficiency, taking charge of a situation, ambitious plans. Now, like I said, we do have, we'll just read the Empress along with this. The Empress is the number 3, Archangel Gabriel. Time to act upon your plans. Creativity is rewarded, luxurious or abundant resources. So these two are a balance and control. This is also taking the dreamer aspect, the more creative aspect of you, and giving it a practical plan. So if you are a songwriter and you're watching all these people who don't have very good music, but they're getting their music out there, it's not because they're more creative than you. It's not that they're more talented than you. They just know this portion better. They know how to make it happen. So here's this powerful, balanced dynamic in how to make your wishes come true. So part of that goes into that big first part of the message, which was, watch who is getting into your wiring and unplugging things. You have been trained to be asleep. That whole example I just gave, just one minor example about gifts and what gets presented to people. Okay? Who's rewarded for their obedience? Now, if you're sitting there and saying, that doesn't happen, oh my gosh, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Sorry if you're not as perceptive, but maybe wake up, or maybe you're doing that. Or maybe you just came from a very healthy background where people are genuine and awesome. Can you let us know who you are? Because not many of us get to see you too often, okay? So yeah. Then we have 4 of Raphael. Seek out other possibilities. Look for the magic in life. Be aware of your own emotions. So again, this is that introspective time where it's like the dream is right there. The wish is right there. But you have to come to some hard conclusions. If, let's say, you lean on your family a lot, but you've always been the one pushed out. You're the afterthought. They make plans and then say, well, you can join if you want. And they count that as an invite, right? You got told at the last minute the plan was already in place. You didn't have a say in the time or anything like that. Or worse, you try to make plans and someone takes it over and then they start inviting a bunch of people that you don't want to hang out with or you don't even know. It can be a hard truth to go, you know what? I probably shouldn't keep going to that person and trying to share my life. I probably shouldn't keep trying to convince myself that this person cares or this group of people really have my best interest at heart. And it can be a little lonely. I feel that here because what you're doing is revolutionary. I want to make it clear. This is not throwing a tantrum and making yourself out to be a victim and saying, everyone's so cruel to me. I guess I just have to be alone and waiting for people to chase after you. If you know, you know. This is a very, very, very deep-seated, maybe feeling like you're never going to be understood. Or that people are more trouble than they're worth. I feel like that's where some of you are right now. Like people are more trouble than they're worth. Or relationships are more trouble than they're worth. There's that dynamic going on. It's a big energy here. That's why I'm spending some time talking through it. So hopefully the words that I'm putting out there, you can take that with you. Let it sink in. See how that plays out for you. I will mention here really quickly, if you want a personal reading with me, go to angelsouls444.com. That is my standard reading. Please pay attention to all the instructions there. And until September 3rd, so whenever you see this, until September 3rd, you can use Labor Day 25 to get 25% off of your standard reading. Please hear me. That does not cover live readings. How many times people will just email me and say, okay, I want a live reading with the discount. I'm going to give you this amount of money. I just won't read for you anymore. Okay. Like I don't have a shortage of customers and clients. So if you can't listen to what I'm saying, if you get confused, that's a whole other thing. Don't worry about that. You don't have to apologize for being confused. It's all good. But I have some like repeat people who come back and they're just trying to take advantage. That's where I end up not offering this stuff anymore. So just please be respectful. Read the terms. I will get them to you as fast as I can. Please remember, 1010 is coming up. The 1010 energy portal. So if you want to get some guidance on what that's going to look like, I say this every year. Get in now. Okay? Get in now because it happens literally every year. I get up to 1010 like a few days out and people are complaining that they don't have their readings yet. Well, you just put it in a week ago. and there could potentially be, 50 people ahead of you. So think about that. Okay. So there's that until September 3rd. Obviously, if you have any problems with the code, you can email me at angelsouls444@gmail.com. All right. So here's this opportunity. Here's all the messy feelings. Here are all the deep thinking kinds of things that most people get very uncomfortable with. And then you end up being part of the problem. There are the enablers. Okay. So you might find, and I've done this so many times in my life where I'm like, I still hang out with a group of people not because I like being controlled or because I like being an afterthought or getting the clearance gift as here, this is just to shut you up so you can't say anything bad about me. Don't say I never gave you anything kind of thing. And again, it's if somebody had made something for me, and they did, I don't care what it is. Or it could just be like spending time with each other. It's not about money. It's about the authenticity. It's about the care that went into that. I give gifts based on not necessarily all conversations, but I will if I hear you mention something and it was on a day where you and I were having a really nice day and you said, yeah, I'm really into plaid scarves. I don't know what it is. It just makes me so cozy. My next question, because I don't know, my brain just dings and I go, ooh, plaid scarves. Okay, that's good to know about you. It makes you feel a certain way. It reminds you of fall. Okay, do you have a lot of those? Do you have like a whole closet full of them? No, I just have one or two. Now I'm going to go find the most coziest, most beautiful, plaid scarf and I'll pair it up with something else probably, I'm sure. But there will always be something that you open from me that is based on something I understand about you. And usually it does harken back to a moment that we had. Okay. Now, people who are shallow are going to look at that and be like, what is this? I went to a party one time and we were all supposed to like come up with a game and some prizes. And I brought in things and every single thing that I brought in as a prize was based on a conversation that I had with some person in that group at some point. Went right over their heads. They did not one person said, oh my gosh, this is that time we were joking around about blah, blah, blah. I totally get it. Not a one of them got it. Why? A lot of people are in that sleep. They are just they're self-indulgent sometimes or self-centered. They're just not thinking of others. So these are, I know, there's a lot of homework coming in with this message, but darling, I promise you, once you get through that, you're going to be able to lift your head up, dust yourself off, and say, okay, I'm ready. Now, part of that holdup, yes? So I just talked about kind of a collective energy around us and kind of what has been normalized for a lot of us. This is 6 of Raphael. Embrace your inner child, new friends or rekindled relationships, children or childhood. I like the idea of new friends here. So yes, this could be something that you're having to heal that does kind of go back to an old pattern. Again, if you're raised in, say, a narcissistic family, then you hang out with narcissists all the time. You get narcissistic love partners. You end up accepting narcissistic work environments instead of going off and doing something that might be healthier and make you happier, right? So here is this big learning thing that's going on that's cracking open at this time. But once you figure it out, here comes that wish. Here it comes. It could be like if you've been living your life playing small because it made everybody else uncomfortable if you pick something up too quickly or if you got too good at it and they would start abusing you for it. Now you're saying, I never had to worry about what you thought of me, and I certainly won't anymore. So I'm going to go after that dream. I'm going to go after whatever I'm good at. And if it makes you uncomfortable that I'm good at something, I would even say you don't need to let those people exist to you. Don't let them pull you off path. And a very narcissistic, keep you in the spell narrative is twisting the words, right? What are you saying? Disregard other people? Weren't you just saying that you don't like to be disregarded? You see how they do that? Like trying to make you feel guilty for not being supply for them? Keep an eye on this. Let this be, again, like angelic homework, right? So not to just jump to conclusions, but really examine and feel out like what kinds of behaviors and treatment do you accept? All right? If you want to learn more, I've got all these videos here. Check some of them out. Be empowered. I love you all. Take care.